There's tons of content on the internet talking about the importance of purpose, but they don't really go that deep on what purpose is and how to find your purpose. They usually just make you ask yourself a couple of questions, do these couple of exercises, and that is it. Then poof, magic happens and you should have found your purpose with 10 minute of a video. But not at all. It is very much difficult and it takes a lot longer for you to find your purpose. And that's the idea of this video. And for me to use this blueprint right here for you to find your purpose. And I've simplified it down to what could be talked about for tens of hours even, into this simple formula. How you can find your purpose, what purpose is, and most importantly, how you can find and discover yourself. And please, save this video for later if you somehow manage to get distracted or something comes up, and come back to this so you can find your purpose. Or maybe you are now close to finding your purpose, but whatever part of the journey you are on, use this video to your advantage and come back to this information. But be warned that this is the type of content that does not have explosions, funny memes, and fast-paced editing. This is much educational, much more purposeful for you to find your purpose. So please focus, use your energy and your time, and you will be rewarded. And not at all, I am not perfect. I have my shortcomings in being good at content creation and storytelling, but I will try my best so that you can find your purpose. And I will leave some timestamps into the description and the video so you can jump around where you find the most interest and the most value for you, wherever you might be in life. But before we focus on finding your purpose, you have to understand that everything is correlated. And I simplified it into this pyramid right here. Because life optimization is where most people, they focus right over here. And I did it, most people do it. They try to focus on their next diet or how to focus for longer, how to work harder. But if you don't have a purpose in mind, it will fall down eventually. And this is what happened to me for years, that I had to drive the motivation to do something new, to optimize my life, to get into shape or do this, do that. But after 2 weeks, after that drive and motivation faded away, I revolved back to my default state and I was back doing my bad habits. And I understood that if you try to optimize your life for the sake of optimizing your life, it's not going to work. You always need to know yourself and then to know your purpose for that life's optimization. But to know yourself and have your purpose in mind, your interest in mind, these right here, they communicate with each other. Because once you know yourself, you know your purpose. And the more you know your purpose, the more you are along with yourself. You know yourself much better. And the more knowledge and the more skills and the more experience you have from life and you get from life, it always goes back to your purpose and knowing yourself. Because with experience, especially from failures, we know what not to do. And we've eliminated the path where we should not go. And that makes us know ourselves, our strengths, our weaknesses, our likes, our dislikes. And all of these, they are correlated. Even the life's optimization. But most people, they start from here and try to work from bottom up. Yes, it works that way, but it's much, much slower. So if you want to build a solid foundation, you first know yourself. Then you will know your purpose, and then you will get the proper knowledge, the proper skills, and the proper experience that will ultimately cultivate you to become the best version of yourself. And then only then do you start to optimize your life so that it's in line with your purpose, in line what you want, not what other people like. So that is why, and that is how everything is correlated. The more you know about yourself, the easier it is for you to find your purpose, what you want. And therefore, it's easy for you to gain the proper knowledge, skills, and experience, and then you will optimize your life so that you can tackle this whole thing the easiest way possible. So now we move on to the foundations of discovering yourself, knowing who you are. Because the first move towards finding your purpose is to know who you truly are with clarity. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your likes, dislikes. Do you like to be with people, not with people? You like numbers, art? What do you like? And the more clarity you have around knowing you, the easier it is for you to choose a career, what you truly love. And things will start to fall into place. You will start to become a magnet towards your types of people. You will start to seek relationships, friends, jobs, a career path that suits for you, the more clear you know about you. That's why it's important. But how do you find it quickly? How do you find it and tap into your own knowing? And we have these impulse voices, these own voices of ours, that you might be alone sitting by yourself and you're like, yeah, do you remember the time when you just like to draw, or you just like to be with numbers, or you just love to do this or do that? That's the own impulse voice that usually comes up when nobody is around us. But it's usually quieted down and pushed down by maybe parents that tell you to become a doctor or to become a lawyer or to do this, to do that. And you listen to them and not you. Same with teachers telling you that you are good at this and bad at this, or you are only bad at this and you're nothing. You become nothing. You will become nothing. And you're like, well, they might be right. And same with friends that they might have the greatest business idea, but deep down, they might ask you to come with them into this business adventure. But deep down, you somehow feel, without knowing, that this could be for you. But you feel and you hear these voices telling you that that's not it. But you still might go because you might do it for money, or you might do it for fame, whatever. But it's not you. And to find this voice of yours is to go back to this childlike curiosity. Just like when you were younger, when you were just playing around, goofing around with your friends or by yourself. Did you go and draw, or did you go and play some music or the drums, or were you just a numbers guy? Did you love to read? Did you love words? What did you love? And the more back you go, the more you start to think, what did you love to do when you were a kid? You will start to then know and have this voice telling you that, yeah, that's what I really loved. It really clicks with you. And not a greater story to tell about this is the legendary Leonardo da Vinci. And when he was on his deathbed, he contemplated life. That was it God's will that made him choose this way of life, or was it somehow his choices that made him become the greatest artist of that time? And most of all, the modern era times, he was a legendary artist. Let's just put it that way. And he started to think back to his childhood. And he remembered the time when he went to his father's room and he picked a pen and paper and he went outside and started to doodle. And he found so much peace and enjoyment and overall joy in just drawing. He knew that there was something to it. But he didn't have the teachers, or he was not in a royal position to have teachers or someone else to teach him how to draw. So he doodled and drew everything by eye. So that's how these pictures of his, they are so realistic, because he drew everything by eye. And throughout his life, failures or successes, he ended up making this painting. And it was one of his first projects of, I guess, that time around, to draw an angel with realistic wings. And he kept that purpose in mind, his life's calling in mind, that he loved to draw, to paint. And then he deviated from that path to study anatomy, to study birds, their wings. Not to do with drawing, not to do with painting, but studying birds, of all of it, so that he could fulfill his purpose. And that's the importance of purpose and knowing your own self, knowing your inner callings, this inner voice, because he did all of this by being aligned with himself, what he wanted to do. That's the importance of knowing yourself, what you truly want from life. But I've come to a conclusion that it's quite difficult in the modern world to find purpose, since we are continuously being stimulated or distracted, and we are always on social media, or we are gaming. We are dulling our senses, we are dulling our thoughts, we are blocking our thoughts. That's why you go to Instagram and you hear these people telling you that you should do this, start this business, do that, do this, so you can optimize your life. And you're like, yeah, it sounds great, but you still somehow have the feeling inside you, that thought inside you, that it's not you, that's not what you want, but because it's popular, you do it. That's why, to know yourself, it's important to keep them at bay, at least for a moment, to really get to know yourself and what you want from life. So that's why the first step is to seek away from distraction and stimulation, to be with your thoughts only, not somebody else's thoughts, not somebody else's ideas, but with you. So just grab a pen and paper, write down your thoughts, and just sit around. Don't let anybody influence what you want. Don't let me influence what I might say. This is just how you will find it, because I've spent a ridiculous amount of time by just walking without music. I've sat around in my room just being and listening to myself. And I've come to a conclusion that I am now at least going towards the right direction in my life, because I shut off social media. I quit social media, I quit gaming, but not because someone else told me to, although it was an influence. But I knew that the less I'm stimulated and the less I'm distracted, the more I am aligned with my thoughts, with myself, what I want. But yes, still, almost at 30 years of age, I still have a lot to learn. But this is the quickest way to learn, to be with you. And finding yourself is still one of those things that you might think that, okay, now I found myself, but it never stops. You never stop learning something new about yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses, what you love, what you don't like. And that's why it's easy for a 60-year-old to give advice to a 20-year-old, because they have all the experience, they have known their ways of life, and it's easy for them to always simplify things, that don't listen to other people's opinions, or you should seek what you want. But it's their way of saying, of simplifying things, since they have learned a lot about themselves. They know themselves. And now that you know the simple version of how you can find yourself and how to know yourself, we then have to know what purpose is and what it will take to find it. Because again, purpose is this thing that it continues to grow. You discover yourself the more you go along with life. But it's still important to know the core you, what you want. That is why it's important for you to discover yourself, about what you want from life, the things that you love to do when you were younger. Then you can keep growing in the right direction. Since if you are now going in accounting and you love to do arts, you are not going towards the right direction. That's what I'm referring to. But still, purpose is this two-way thing, and it's derived of two big things. First is your bigger purpose. It could be your calling, your career, your want, yourself, what you want to do in life. And then you have these so-called sub-purposes. And these are layers like onions. That's why you might have these people, especially middle-aged people, having middle-life crisis, that all of a sudden they would love to buy a motorcycle, or they would love to start Muay Thai or boxing, because they seek a bigger purpose. They seek these sub-purposes to really seek who they are, to seek their purpose. And they are usually laughed at. And that's sad, by just them seeking their purpose. But purpose, a sub-purpose could be defined like this, that all of a sudden you have this great drive, great willingness to become a fighter or a firefighter, could be a book reader, whatever. And then all of a sudden you feel a loss of interest towards those things. And that means you have completed your sub-purpose layer. You have learned how to read books. You learned about what you wanted to learn, the purpose for it. And then you keep finding these new things, new sub-purposes for you to do, new projects, new things that really go along with your bigger purpose in mind. And once you go deep enough, once you have these layers peeled down, you get to the core you, with all of the experiences, with all of the skills and knowledge that really support your bigger purpose, your calling in life. That is why Leonardo da Vinci, he went onto these sub-purposes in his life, to make arts of clay and to try and make bronze statues, to study anatomy, to study birds. Those were his sub-purposes because he had this bigger purpose in mind. And it's especially prominent in modern times when you have the world in your fingertips. You have the internet, you can do whatever you want. But when you have your bigger purpose with yourself, you always know your sub-purpose is much clearer, and then it's easier for you to peel back those layers to really know the core you, even stronger. But I found out that not only for me, but most people, they always tell, it's so it is so common for people to tell themselves and others that I can't find my purpose. I've looked hard enough, but I haven't found it. I don't know my meaning in life. But that just means, and I learned the hard way after years of trying to find my purpose, that you just haven't looked hard enough. You haven't asked the hard questions. You haven't experienced life enough. And that's the sad reality. And I'm going to be hard with you that it takes time for you to truly find your purpose. It might be easy for you to watch a 20-year-old on YouTube tell you that they have found their purpose, but most likely they are lying. It could be that you could be 30, 40, 50, and you still do not have a clue of your purpose. But the harder you look, the more you write down your thoughts, the more you spend time with yourself asking hard questions, getting to the core you, then you will find your purpose. And that's the simplicity of it, that if you haven't found your purpose, you haven't looked hard enough. But that's why it's like this, that people want to get here on top of this pyramid. And all of this, having purpose and seeking purpose and transcending yourself, it requires so much energy. And you can't believe how much energy you have to put into your purpose. But it is just like this water glass, that you have a limited amount of, let's say, focus, energy, and that's time right here. You have focus, energy, and time. And first, you have your physiological and biological needs. So you have a roof over your head. I know you do. You have warm meals because you are watching this video. I know that you do. We first have to have these met so we can move up this ladder to health. Once we have health, we can move up. But you know those times when you have had the cold, or you might have had a stomach bug. You could not do anything. You could barely eat. You couldn't even see the sight of your friends. You wouldn't love to go out and party too. You were just sick. All you wanted to do was to get better. That's why if we don't have our health in mind, we don't want to move up towards this ladder. And that's why they say health is wealth, because without health you cannot move up. But once we are healthy mentally and physically, we move on to relationships. So if you are alone in society, you feel you have no purpose, you have no meaning, you feel like you don't belong anywhere. And that's why, as social creatures, as humans are, we need at least 1, 2, or 3 meaningful relationships. It could be with your friends, with your family, or with your spouse. As long as you can be along with people, you get along with people, you belong, you have this sense of belonging, then you can move up and use your focus, energy, and time to go up the ladder. But if you don't have relationships, all of your focus, energy, and time will go for you to find relationships. It's the same with health right over here, that you don't care about those relationships if you don't have health. All that focus, energy, and time will go to health. Same with relationships, and only then becomes one of the hardest and one of the most complex things that people really don't talk about. So let's say you have your physiological and biological needs met. You have your health, you have your lovely relationships, and then you have freedom and status. People always seek freedom in one way or another. Same with status. That's why it's so prominent in these modern times that people tell you to seek financial freedom, to seek freedom in your time so that you don't have to go to work. And it's important for you to have time for yourself so you know what you want and you can do what you want. And that's why freedom is important, that you are not, quote unquote, chained in things what other people want from you. And once you have freedom, you still have status. Let's say you can travel the world and you still have a lovely job and you still have the weekends off and you might have some few vacations around the year. Awesome. You are free in a way. Not truly free, but you have enough freedom for you to focus on status. And everybody seeks status. Could it be unconsciously or consciously? But most boys, I can talk about only from my experiences, so sorry women, but when we are boys, we dream of the biggest of mansions, the fastest of cars, being the hero of the story, to be able to travel, to quote unquote conquer life. And that's why these kids of 14 or 15, they buy these Gucci shoes and jackets that cost thousands upon thousands of dollars just to seek status. It could be that even the Prius owner or a guy who lives in a quote-unquote modern house or a moderate house that has a okay relationship, that it's okay, but they still have gone married. They have married because they want status. They got the house because they got status. They want status. Some seek it more and some seek it less, but you still have to have an amount of freedom and status in your life so that you can move all of your rest of your energy, focus, and time to you finding your purpose. So once you have a job, a way of having freedom and status, so you can pay your bills, you can travel, you can be alone, and then you might have meaningful relationships, again, status. Everything relates to you having at least some form of freedom or status. And once you have enough of these, then only then the extra focus and energy will be put into purpose and you transcending yourself. And that's why purpose is so hard to focus on, because once you are free and once you have the status, you would rather want to travel, you would rather want to party out, you would rather do anything else except think your own purpose. You would love to be with people who make you happy. You would love to be with people who tell you what you want. But it's them telling you. It's not telling you. You do not tell her. You only know your wants and it's not other people. That's why it's quite difficult to explain that how hard it is for someone to find their purpose, because every weekend, every hour when you are not working should be going to you finding your purpose, so you can put all of that extra time and energy for you to find purpose. And that's what it takes. That is why some people, it takes them shorter amount of time to find their purpose, because everything goes to them finding their purpose. But some people never will, because they are not in a place where they can find time. They do not have these bottom things met. They don't have their health. They don't have the relationships. Or maybe they are stuck seeking freedom and they are seeking status and they cannot find their purpose. Most people never get there. So that is why, if you even have the slightest bit of freedom and status and time in your hands, you can always find freedom. You can always find purpose. And this is the easiest way for you not to focus on this, not this, not this, not this. Just your purpose. But a great way and an easy way for you to find your purpose, a lot easier, and to find yourself a lot easier. And what it really comes down to is a way for you to find to be useful, not happy. Because I used to chase happiness a lot, and once we focus on happiness, it's always outside of our reach. It's just like that carrot on a meal that they try and grab it, but it always keeps moving further. You never reach it, and that is why people feel so unhappy. But once we focus on inputs, we seek becoming useful. We focus on the journey, the actions to develop ourselves so that we can become useful to other people. Happiness, meaning, passion, money, status, women, everything will follow once you just focus on you accepting yourself. And again, it comes back to this. You have to focus on your health so you can be healthier for longer. You have to have meaningful relationships so you can be useful for longer. Freedom, all of it. And then you can find purpose. But it's easier and it's faster and it's more enjoyable for you to find usefulness in society and not happiness. That's what I found, and I would do it all over again. Or if I would go back and start all over again, I would focus on me being or trying to be useful rather than happy. But this is what purpose is in this Japanese word called ikigai. That you have all of these four balls combined about what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. But most people, they only seek this, what you can be paid for. They follow the business route, they go and make some money, and all of a sudden they're burnt out. They question themselves, what is this life about? But the best way, again, to know yourself is to know what you love. It all starts here, in my opinion, but that's what I've really realized. It starts what you love, and then once you have experience, and you have the skills, and you have the knowledge, you start to know what you're good at. And then you complement each other, and then you have your passion right here. And then you start to become useful. You know what the world needs. You combine what you love and what you're good at and how you can meet other people's needs, what you can provide them. And of course, we need to pay the bills. We need to have that physiological and biological needs. We need to get some money from it. Let's be honest. We wouldn't be living if we wouldn't do it for money. But this is first. This is second. This is third. And this is fourth. This is how you can find ikigai, your purpose. That's what it will take. It is a simple journey, but a long journey. But ultimately, it is easy once you know when and where to focus on your purpose by just completing these things right here and then becoming useful. And now we can go deeper on how you can find your purpose. This is the amazing part where you will find your way of living your life. But as I said, it takes time, it takes sacrifice of you not going to partying, you putting all of your time and energy for you finding your purpose and you still having to live life, to see those errors through, to fail, to gain the experience. That will make you find your purpose a lot more clearly and much more faster. The more you put yourself out there, the more errors you make, the more experience you get. That will make you know your dislikes, your likes, knowing yourself and your purpose. But a quick way now is for you to know your current purpose, or at least what you are like as a person, is to look at your Google and YouTube search history. It could be to do with gaming, or it could be to do with writing, or how to focus for longer, how to work harder, how to cook, could be whatever. But it's also not the what, but the what in the what. And let me elaborate on that, because I used to be a competitive gamer. I loved to game for 16 hours a day, and all I wanted to do was game. I wanted to become the best. And what I searched for was gaming, obviously. But it's the search within the search. And I used to be such a competitive gamer that I didn't do it for fun. It was fun, but I didn't do it for fun. If my friends were wanting to play for fun, I was like, no, I don't want that. And that's what my Google search history was about. I searched for how to be the best. What do the best players do? And that got into me. I knew myself that I didn't want to be the guy who played for fun. I wanted to be the guy who wanted to be the best. That told me about me. And it could be that you want to, let's take the gaming example, that you want to see that how to build, how to have fun, the best way to be creative, how to build this, how to do that. It tells you what you are as a person. Are you competitive? Are you creative? What do you love to do within the game? That's what it's important. You might create something, you might destroy something, you might want to get along with people, know people, or you might want to be competitive and become the best. But that's the best way and fastest way for you to now know what you are as a person and what are your current likes, and to learn from there. But a great indication of your purpose is still that you love the work, you enjoy the work, although it might be hard and challenging, but you still enjoy the process. You do it only for the sake of the process, and you do not seek the outcome. Not the money, not the cars, not the women. None of that. It's just like as a kid, you love to draw for the sake of drawing. It's the sake you played the drums because you love to play it. That is a great indication for you to know your purpose. And yes, there are now a lot of stimulation and instant gratification activities that make you falsely believe that it's your purpose. And I mean that it's creating content on TikTok or gaming away. It's so addictive that it makes you believe that you have this purpose inside a game or in a virtual reality. But think about you, what you truly want. That's why it's important to stay away from stimulation. And if it is truly that you enjoy gaming that much, that you want to make it a profession for the rest of your life, that it aligns with your purpose, do it. Enjoy the process, but don't seek only for the outcome. Because once you get the money, once you get the cars, once you get the fame, it all stops just like that, because you did it for the outcome. And now what? You are lost. You have no purpose and you fall out of these great habits since you accomplished it. That's why it's important to love the hard work. That's why it's important to love the process. So you just keep on doing it no matter what you get, no matter what happens. But also, Be warned that everything you do in the beginning, you will suck at it. And I wish I knew this earlier, because I've quit so many of my quote unquote purposeful things because I thought I wasn't born to do it. But I just didn't have the skills, the knowledge, or the experience to do what I love to do. That's why most people, over 90% of people, they quit their purpose because they think they were not meant to do it. Because they think because of these Hollywood movies, they tell you that, yeah, you were born to do this. You had the magical touch to a ball and you were just born to be this way, but not at all. It is going to be difficult once you start something new, but don't let that difficulty or challenge take you away from your purpose. It is okay to suck. You will suck in the beginning. It might be that you love music, but once you get and started in music production, you look at the whole program and you don't know what to do. You're like, this is so confusing. And it is supposed to be difficult because it is another way of you expressing yourself, but the more you do it, the more experience you gain. The easier it becomes and the more you can bloom in that thing. And still, people, and I really did, that I thought that I wasted years of my life by doing quote unquote the wrong thing. But there is never a downside for you learning a new skill, of you having different experiences. And maybe you've gone to the wrong path. Maybe you did get an accounting degree, although you wanted to go to arts, but it is amazing. Because this enables you to create unique solutions to problems that you're presented in the now, in this current moment, or in the future. And you will find your spectrum, where you sit on the spectrum of life. That's why, again, Leonardo da Vinci, he learned about anatomy, he learned about birds, he learned about the human body so that he could find a unique solution to his drawing. And you will find a lot of use from different fields, different topics. Because if you take accounting and you take arts and you build a business, you already know numbers, you already know how to do arts, and you combine it in the business, you create a unique solution. It always helps you to know more. Nothing is wasted unless you are doing cocaine and heroin and you are wasting your life. Sure, that might be wasting your life. But learning a skill, going towards a different path that you thought that could be good for you, and you still seek, and it just didn't come to fruit. It's still not bad. It's still a great experience. So never think that it's wrong or you shouldn't have done it. Not at all. Everything is correlated. As I said, everything is correlated because ultimately, knowledge and experience goes you to your purpose, and the more you know about yourself, and then you can start to build your purpose the proper way up. That's how it works. But let's say, like, this is now concretely that you might have gone down the wrong road. But this is concretely the biggest. I wish I would have had this information when I was 20 years old or 15. I would have probably, I wouldn't say, I was about to say killed for this information, but this would have been so critical. That there are, first and foremost, it was 5 forms of intelligence. And it was this book that Robert Greene, an author of the book called Mastery, which is also one of the references to this video, but also the author of 48 Laws of Power and All the Great Things. But he recommended a book called 5 Forms of Intelligence. And it was words and language, music and musical patterns, mathematics and logic, spatial intelligence, and kinetic intelligence. But he added, Robert Greene, that there is also social intelligence. That yourself, your whole body, your whole soul, your mind is always inclined to go towards 1 or 2 directions of these things. So if you love to have words and languages in your life, that you love to read, you love the way of words, you love to study the dictionary, what they mean, you love to study new languages so you can discuss with other ethnicities, how is it called? But anyway, you love to travel, you love to speak with different people with different languages. You know that you are meant to go towards this path of you having this intelligence of words and language. Listen to it. And same with music and musical patterns. You love harmony, you love frequencies, you quote unquote feel and hear the beat. This is me. I always hear someone might be like hammering something, and I'm like, okay, you can make a beat out of that. And I always tap my fingers, my legs, and I'm always moving, feel the rhythm. I love harmony, I love sound, I love everything of it. And now I've learned that I am more inclined to go towards music, towards musical patterns. And same with mathematics and logic. Like Stephen Hawking, he was one of the greatest logical guys in the whole world, and he was mostly inclined towards going towards numbers and logic, numbers, because he loved it. It was him. So if you love to automatically to look at the numbers, you hear these people being, well, can you show me the numbers? They are more inclined towards mathematics and numbers and logic. It could be easy for you to go towards a mathematic profession, a teacher, whatever, but know this, that you are inclined to go here. But same with spatial intelligence, that you look at these different types of people, that they have an image, they see an image and they start to play around with it, that maybe this could go here and this could go here, and they start to piece things together in their head. Just like innovators, engineers, they see that what if you could tweak that a bit and that a bit and then it would work. That is spatial intelligence. They always, in their default state, they are like, what if that could go over there? And they start to visualize. That is the inclination of theirs. But it's also kinetic intelligence, that you love to move your body. Just like athletes, gymnasts, you hear these people talking about that I've always loved to move my body. I've always loved to play ball. I always loved football. I always loved this and that. Because they just simply love to move their body. It's their inclination to go towards that path. That's why some people, they do not have an inclination to move their body. That is why they might be fat. They might not even love going to the gym or any of the exercise, since they are inclined to maybe music or maybe words and language. It's very that simple. And lastly, it is about social intelligence, that if you love getting along with people and you love spending time with people, you truly want to get to know people, then you have a great inclination towards them. And this is also me. I love to know different perspectives from other people. I love to see different personalities of people. I love to understand them. I love to just go around and to seek, why is that guy acting like that? Why is that woman acting like that? And I learn from it. I love to learn it. And you can still combine these, that let's say I am now a musical guy and I love to be with people. Well, psychology could come into play. That how could I make the greatest composition, or how could I seek harmony and knowing people? How could I combine them? Again, it goes back to you finding your unique solution. Where is it? Here. That you find unique solutions with different experiences. So there is never a downside to you learning something new. But this is important, that I wish I would have, again, learned when I was younger. That now you might have forgotten this aha moment, that you might be socially intelligent or you might be spatially intelligent. And now you know that, okay, I'm more musical. So then you keep towards the route, you keep going there, and you start to eliminate other options. So let's say you are a mathematic guy, you like numbers. Again, another opinion, but another option, I mean. But you have this huge pie chart that you have every profession right here. And then you know that you love numbers and not arts and not engineering, none of that. You just pick a slice that this is my general direction, that this is everything that has to do with the numbers. And then you narrow down that general pie chart to go narrower. So what is it in numbers that you would love to do? Is it about creating something like coding, or do you like to take apart data? Do you love accounting? What kind of numbers do you like? What do you love to do inside those numbers? And again, if you rule out accounting, you rule out data, you go to coding. You get closer in coding. You know, what do you want to code? Java, Python, what do you love to code? And again, you are so narrow now that you know now. What is it? What is it that you love to do? And once you have found the perfect profession, that life's calling, then it's easy for you to build out. Then you start to go towards your life optimization. You start to optimize your life, your sleeping routine, your diet, your exercise routine, so you can find and feel your purpose to its maximum potential and therefore gain more knowledge, skills, and experience with your purpose in mind. And that is the importance of knowing this, your form of intelligence. This is where it all comes down to know this. So that is when it leads to your next actionable step for you to get a step closer to your purpose and your dream life. And as I said in the beginning, that first and foremost, save this video. Not only for now, but for later, to come back to this information as you go further in your journey. Because I've had it happen to me multiple times that I've just lost myself in life. I've lost my way of living towards my purpose. And once I came back to information about finding my purpose, I was like, that was it. So use this information to your advantage. Could be now, in the future, but always. Never stop seeking your purpose. But start with these two. That limit or completely remove stimulation and distractions for the time being, for a week, for 2, and limit those other people's voices who tell you what you should do or what you need to do. Just be by yourself. Go out for a walk. No music, no stimulation. Just listen to the birds. Just walk by yourself, with your thoughts. And love it. It will be uncomfortable being and sitting in the silence. Could be in your room and just being. It might make you cry, it might do anything. But that's why it's important for you to grab a pen and paper and start to ask yourself hard questions. What do you like? What do you want to be? Not what your parents want you to be, not what your friends want you to be, not anybody else, but what do you want to be? And it will take an uncomfortable amount of hours for you to be with yourself, with your thoughts. But silence is one of those things. Although uncomfortable, but silence always speaks the truth. It will unravel the truth. That's why you should do anything. Again, using the word should. But think about how much and how willing are you to find your purpose, your life's calling. Because once you do it, you have found your direction and you can thank yourself for it. So do anything that allows you to be with your thoughts and yourself. And the longer you are, quote unquote, alone, I'm not talking about being lonely, but being alone, the more you will start to know yourself. And the more you are alone without stimulation, without distractions, the more you know about yourself, the more you will be aligned to your purpose. And that will build up your life from there. But be honest, be truly honest. The ego, it will fight back and tell you that no, you've built something great, but let it be broken. Really seek deep down in your soul and in your mind and in your heart. What do you want? And then go and write down your strongest form of intelligence. And again, going back to this, do you love words and language? Is it your inclination to go towards that direction? Or music or musical patterns? Mathematics and logic, special intelligence, kinetic intelligence, social intelligence. What is it from these? Pick one or pick two. Just seek. What do you love to do? What is your inclination? You know it. So then start thinking, once you found it, start thinking about some professions or career options that would be good for you. And keep your strengths in mind. So if you love to create and you love numbers, so could be coding, could be. Or maybe you love to be with people, you love people. It could be psychology, but it could be also comedian. You could become a comedian or an entertainer. Just think about those career options and really keep your strengths in mind. And you have some strengths, at least one, and keep that in mind. And then build a 1-year vision. What would you want to be next year? And it could be by January 2026. And have this vision as detailed as possible. What do you want to look like? What kind of relationships do you want to have in your life? What is the books that you have read? The career option you have chosen? Have you started a business? What have you done? Imagine it, vision it, feel it, live it. And then once you have done it in detail, reverse engineer that vision into actionable goals, into monthly goals, to seek that every month, what do you need to do to get closer to your 1 year vision? And then from those monthly goals, you go into weekly goals. But here's where I've failed a lot of times, that I only seek the results and the goals. But the most important emphasis needs to be, and I'm being careful with my words, it shouldn't be, but it needs to be about the journey, about the inputs, about the action, instead of the results. Because once you love the process, once you love working hard, you love just doing, you love doodling, you get better at doing. You don't get better at getting results, but you love working harder. You love coding for longer. You love to focus for longer when you have inputs and actions in mind and not results. Because once you do enough actions and inputs, you will automatically reach your goals, or even better, you will surpass them. Let's say that you want to become a musician. You want to become an artist. So for every day, you might do one song a day. That is your whole thing. You focus on the action, the input, that every day you produce one song. And by the end of the year, after 1 year, 365 songs you've made. Imagine how many people would have finished 365 songs. Not that many. And once you've done it enough, you start to love and see different patterns. You start to love to make music, not to seek streams. You don't love that, but you just love to do it, and you will get better at doing. And you don't seek that great expectations of you getting 1 million streams. You just love the way of doing music. That's the importance. But this was my way of simplifying how to find purpose, why it's important, and what purpose is. And I truly hope that you are even this tiny step closer for you finding your purpose, your life's calling. And if you, I don't even know how many people are watching this at the current moment, but it is now September at 2024. And if you are watching this at 2025, 2026, 2030, doesn't matter. I hope that this blueprint was helpful to you. And my only hope is for you to find your life's calling in this midst of chaos, of modern technology, of chaos. But you have to always remember that whatever might be going through life at the moment, that you are the diamond in your life.